The Central Provident Fund, or CPF, is one of the most important key pillars of Singapore's social security system, as it helps many Singaporeans, as well as PRs, set aside funds needed to build a strong foundation for their retirement. But just how much do you even know about the CPF? Other than,
CPF takes my money every month.
In this video, we'll be going through everything you need to know about the CPF, such as how it actually works, where does the interest come from, and of course, I will also share some useful tips and tricks which you can use to fully maximize your CPF benefits. But before I start, do join my 9,000 members Telegram chat group to discuss or ask any questions that you may have. Alright, here's a quick history of the CPF. CPF was created in 1955 with the purpose of helping workers to save up for retirement. Back then, both employers and employees were required to contribute 5% each, which then grew at a 2.5% rate each year. Later on, in 1968, the government introduced the public housing scheme. This made housing a lot more affordable, as Singaporeans are now able to tap into their CPF savings to pay for their housing, thereby allowing them to use cash savings for other purposes. Then in the 1970s, as Singapore's economy grew, the CPF contribution rates were also increased to help members save more. And that's when they introduced the all-famous special accounts, which, fun fact, had a starting interest rate of 6.5% per annum. Later on, the MediSave accounts was also launched in 1984 to help Singaporeans cover hospitalization expenses. And under the Approved Investment Scheme in 1986, CPF started allowing members to invest their CPF ordinary accounts savings to further grow their wealth. Then in 1987, with a rising life expectancy, the government quickly realized that there was a risk of Singaporeans outliving their CPF savings. So they introduced the Minimum Sum Scheme, which allowed retirees to start receiving monthly payouts. And later on, in 2009, this evolved to CPF Life and started providing lifelong payouts to all CPF members. Along the way, the government has also provided some assistance to help Singaporeans save up for retirement, such as the Workfare Income Supplement Scheme in 2007 to boost eligible workers' wages and CPF savings, paying an extra 1% interest on the first 60k of CPF savings, additional annual MediSave top-ups for the elderly, and so on. And all that has led up to the CPF that we love
and some hate today.
Now, whether you like it or not, CPF contributions are mandatory as long as you are a Singaporean citizen or PR who is either working full-time, part-time, temporary, contract, or on a casual basis, as long as you are earning more than $50 a month. Then, if you are earning more than $500 a month, your employer is also required to contribute to your CPF too. While we are familiar with the 20% employee contribution and 17% employer contribution, the allocation has occasionally changed from time to time. For example, back in 2010, the employer's contribution rate for those who are aged 50 and below used to be a little lower at 15%. This was later slowly raised to the 17% that we know now. But did you notice that the contribution rate tends to get lower the older you get? As it turns out, prior to 1988, everyone was receiving the same contribution rates regardless of age. So what happens was that as the workers got older, their wages also became higher as compared to the market value of their jobs. As you might imagine, companies were less willing to hire older workers as they were not only more expensive but also will be retiring soon anyway. So in 1988, in order to lower the cost of employing older workers while improving their employability, the government started reducing the total CPF contribution rates for those who are over the age of 55. Then later on in 1999 and 2005, in response to economic conditions and to protect their employability, the rates were further lowered till we got the rates that we see today. If you are looking for one of the most affordable trading platforms in Singapore, you can check out Webull. For the US market, during regular and extended hours, they are just charging a low fee of 0.025% with a minimum of 50 cents USD. And for overnight hours, they are charging 0.03% of the total trade amount with a minimum of 89 cents USD. Then for the SGX market, commission is 0.025% of total trade amount with a minimum of SGD 80 cents, and the platform fees is 0.025% of the total trade amount with a minimum of SGD 80 cents. Or if you are a new user, you will also get to enjoy commission-free trades for US stock trading for 1 month and commission-free trades for SG stock trading for 3 years. Also, if you are an US options trader, you'll be glad to know that Webull is just charging 55 cents per contract with no minimum fees. Plus, right now, Both new and existing users will also get to enjoy US options free commission whenever you trade a minimum of 100 options contracts monthly. For new users who use my exclusive link to sign up to Weeboo, if you fund your account, trade, and fulfill the respective criteria, you'll be eligible to get up to $400 cash vouchers. Plus, you can get up to 7% per annum yield for USD Money Boo when you fund a cap of $100,000 for up to 90 days, where you can potentially earn a yield of up to $1,750. Otherwise, if you are an existing user who has not transferred any shares into Weeboo before, you can take part in the transfer in promo, where you can get anywhere between $50 to $1,500 trading vouchers when you fulfill the requirements. So if you are interested, do sign up to Weeboo using my link down below. And let's get back to the video. So here are the different CPF accounts that we have and how the money is allocated to each account. First, we have the ordinary account. The money in this account can be used to pay for housing, investment, education, and even insurance, such as Dependents Protection Scheme, as well as the Home Protection Scheme. Then there's the special accounts. The money in here is used to build up your retirement savings, and if you want, it can also be used to invest, though in a much lower risk instruments as compared to CPF OA investments, such as low risk unit trusts, treasury bills, and fixed deposits. This is to ensure that you don't go and anyhow invest in some lousy investments and give up your money and retirement when things go wrong. Then we have the Medisave account. This account is to cover your healthcare needs, such as hospital expenses and insurance premiums. And finally, you will get the retirement account at 55 years old. So what happens is that once you turn 55, CPF will transfer money from CPF OA and SA into your RA up to an amount called the full retirement sum. Then close your CPF SA. The money in CPF RA will then be used to fund your retirement via something called CPF Life. But more on this later. For younger folks who are below 35, over 60% of the contribution goes into CPF OA to allow us to have enough savings to buy a home and to pay for its monthly mortgage. Then as we get older, more and more of our contributions are funneled into SA. This is to further boost our retirement savings in order to better prepare us when we retire. And finally, when we turn 60, most of the contribution goes towards our MA, so that we will have enough money to pay for our healthcare expenses. Next, let's take a look at how much interest that you can earn in your CPF. CPF OA gives a base interest of 2.5% per annum, while for SA, RA, and MA, the current interest rate is at 4.08% per annum. It's important to note that these interest rates are not fixed and can change from time to time. For example, did you know that back in the 1970s to 1980s, our CPF OA, SA, and MA were giving as much as 6.5% interest? But right now, the interest rate for OA is pegged to the 3-month average of major local banks' interest rates, with a minimum guaranteed interest of 2.5%, which is how we currently get the 2.5% interest rate. As for CPF SA, MA, and RA, their rates are calculated based on the 12-month average yield of the 10-year Singapore government securities plus 1%. With a minimum interest rate of 4%. So since the 10-year SGS yield has gone up recently, our CPF SMRA interest rate goes up as well. Then as a bonus, for people below 55, you get to earn an extra 1% interest on the first 60k of your combined CPF balances, which is then paid into your CPF SA. Though for CPF OA, this extra 1% only applies to the first 20k. Then for people aged 55 and above, you get to earn an extra 2% interest on the first 30k of your combined CPF balances, also capped at 20k for OA, then an extra 1% interest on the next 30k of your combined CPF balances. But here's a question. Where do this interest come from? Some people believe that the payouts came from the younger generation, but how true is that? As it turns out, our CPF money doesn't just sit around and do nothing in our CPF account.
Like a lazy bum.
Instead, that money is actually invested into a special type of government bonds called Special Singapore Government Securities, or SSGS, which is issued only to the CPF board. This money is then put together with other government funds and invested by GIC. And in return, the returns from these investments are then used to pay for the SSGS interest, which then goes to your CPF interest. So far, GIC has a 20-year annualized rate of return of 4.6% above the global inflation, which means our CPF interest is still sustainable lah. Next, let's talk about CPF Life. CPF Life is the life annuity scheme that provides monthly payouts starting from the age of 65 for as long as you live.
For as long as you live?
Yes, for as long as you live. That's why CPF Life is such an important tool for many Singaporeans, as it ensures that we will be able to receive a steady income during our retirement years, while giving us a financial safety net if ever things go wrong. CPF Life comes with different plans. First, there's the standard plan, which offers fixed monthly payouts throughout your life. Then there's the escalating plan, which starts with lower monthly payouts but increases at 2% annually in order to keep up with inflation. Finally, we have the basic plan, which gives the lowest monthly payouts but in return only uses 10 to 20% of your RA savings every year to pay for the annuity premium. This allows you to keep the rest of your RA savings in your RA, so that when you eventually pass away, touch wood, your descendants will get to receive the additional interest earned from your RA. In comparison, if you opted for either the standard plan or the escalating plan, 100% of the RA savings goes into CPF Life. So whatever interest that you earn in CPF Life will remain in CPF Life even after you have passed away and will be used to pay for other members' payout. For more info on which is the best CPF Life plan that you should go for, you can check out my video here. But how much monthly payouts that you will receive exactly? For this, it depends how much money you have in your RA. And for this, we have 3 different tiers. The basic retirement sum, which is $102,900 in 2024. The full retirement sum, which is 2 times of the BRS at $205,800, also in 2024. And finally, the enhanced retirement sum, which is 3 times of the BRS at $308,700. And yes, in 2024. The reason I keep emphasizing the year 2024 is because these retirement sums are only applicable for those who turn 55 years old in 2024. So if you are not at 55 years old yet, your retirement sum will be higher. But let's say you turn 55 in 2024 this year, and you manage to save up to the full retirement sum of $205,800 under the CPF Life Standard Plan, you will receive about $1,670 per month when you turn 65. And of course, if you only have the BRS, your payouts will only be around $900 a month. Otherwise, if you are at ERS, you will get $2,450 a month. Fun fact, you can check out the CPF Life Estimator tool, where you are able to play around to see how much payouts that you are able to get when you turn 65. But which is the best retirement sum to go for? Should we aim for ERS so that we can get the highest money payouts after we retire? According to my research, we should ideally go for FRS, as it would allow us to enjoy a basic standard of living, then allocate the remaining funds into investments in order to further grow our wealth and keep up with inflation. Again, for more info, you can check out my video here. Lastly, here are 2 simple tips on how to optimize your CPF. First, aim to top up $8,000 into your CPF MA every year. This will allow you to enjoy the maximum CPF top-up relief while growing your CPF savings. But why top up CPF MA and not CPF SA? That's because you are able to use your CPF MA savings for a lot more stuff, such as healthcare expenses and insurance payments, whereas your CPF SA savings will only be useful when you turn 55. Second, if you currently do not have any plans for your CPF OA, you can consider investing the money into broad-based market index funds in order to further grow your money. Otherwise, if you are a risk-averse person, you can also invest your CPF OA savings into Singapore T-bills in order to earn a higher interest of around 3+% instead of just the 2.5% interest from OA. For more tips, you can also check out this video here. So that was a quick overview of the CPF system. Hopefully, you found this useful. Like, share and subscribe, as I'll be posting new videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday.